All right, good evening, everybody. Nice to see a big crowd out there tonight. Um, so welcome. Thanks for coming out on this cold night. It's going to be colder by the time you leave. So it's a big agenda. So let's get started. The first thing on our agenda this is our business meeting, and at our business meeting, the first thing we do is we recognize a resident of the month. Um, this month we actually have two. So Colleen and Jessica, if you want to come up to the podium. And really, it's a whole organization I think we're recognizing. Hi, how are you? Okay, so these two ladies, Colleen Kavanaugh and Jessica Skillings, have spearheaded a program that allows families in the area to shop for free for holiday gifts. They organize approximately 150 volunteers that sort through donated items, new or gently used items, and these gifts are displayed and families are invited to come take what they need. Last year, the program served approximately 300 families and nearly 3,000 gifts were given. They were quick to note that it takes a village to pull this off. Colleen said, and this is a quote, "It is heartbreaking and heartwarming all at the same time, but it certainly makes us appreciate the community we live in. Volunteers come from all over, athletes from the Boston Spa sports teams, honor societies, St. Mary's students, religious education students, neighbors, colleagues, friends, and complete strangers." They also wanted me to mention the core of volunteers that show up each year. Jen Driver, Cheryl O'Malley, Kate Russell, Kara Ostrander, Carrie Waddy, Kaylin Glockner, Margaret Gorman, and Amy Galvin. They also want to thank St. Mary's for the use of their facility this year. There are flyers available on the table for more information about the program. And just to note, I know Colleen because I go to Captain meetings regularly, the runaway and homeless youth meetings. So she serves on the board of directors for the Captain Community and Human Services, and she serves as the finance committee and at the RHY Runaway Homeless Youth Committee for Captain. So thank you so much, ladies, for your commitment. Do either of you want to say anything about the program? I mean, there are flyers there.
Get the word out.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's next week.
Yeah, the event is on Saturday,
This Saturday.
at St. Mary's Gymnasium. So if you know families who may need to shop for free, please spread the word. There are two different flyers. The green flyer is the one for families. And donations are being collected at various locations across Boston Spa Malta this week.
So that
all the
was
information-
this Saturday, St. Mary's,
Saturday, yes.
What
from
time?
8 to 5. 8 to 5.
8 to 5.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah, there are flyers and it's on our, do we have it on our website? I don't know.
It's
No.
on lots of.
Yeah, lots of
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Thank you so
and
much.
we're gonna go get a picture with everybody. So
yes.
come on over here.
Yeah.
You guys, come on. Come on.
Everybody can come.
Yeah.
Everybody, bring it on. Okay, good.
Nice job, ladies.
Okay. Next, we have a presentation. As you know, we've been talking about we're undergoing a rezoning as a result of our comprehensive plan that was adopted. And one of the kind of sticking points, one of the other things that we're talking about is our plan development district legislation. And kind of our last piece for that is to try to determine whether or not we want to include a density bonus in that legislation. So our town of Malta planner, Adrian Cattell, has made a presentation that he wants to just show us what the impacts of different densities would be.
Yes. Just give me 1 second so I can get this presentation set up. That's not the view that I wanted to share. Okay. Okay. Thank you for having me here. So this is the proposed density calculation for planned development districts. Basically, what I'm going to do is we're going to go through some basic terms and definitions so that we're all on the same page for what we're talking about. Then I'm going to run through 2 different examples. The first example is going to be a pretty simplistic example just to get the idea across. And then the second example will be a little bit more complex. And then at the end, I will do a visual example so we can see how this actually looks on paper. And then if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them at the end. So terms and definitions. So what is a planned development district? The technical definition, and I promise this is the only slide I'll read off of, is a type of flexible non-Euclidean zoning device that redefines the land uses allowed within a stated land area. They consist of unitary site plans that promote the creation of open spaces, mixed-use housing, and land uses, environmental preservation and sustainability, and development flexibility. Areas rezoned as PDDs include building developments, designed groupings of both varied and compatible land uses, such as housing, recreation, commercial centers, and industrial parks, all within one contained development or subdivision. So basically that means, there's underlying zoning and legislation comes in and says, hey, we're going to get rid of that underlying zoning for this very specific area, and we're going to allow X, Y, and Z. So first, these are not in any particular order. Physical and environmental constraints. These are any features, whether it's environmental or just practical, that prevent development from occurring. So that can be wetlands, that can be steep slopes, that could be a stream, that could be, any number of things that fall into this category. You also have infrastructure. Infrastructure is really utilities, internet services, water service, pretty much anything that's permanent that people build to support development. This also includes roads. Gross site area is going to be the total acreage of the site being developed. So if you have one piece of land, one property you're developing, it's that entire property no matter what's on it. If you're doing 2 properties, it's both properties, including all of the land that cannot be developed. The net developable area is when you take that gross site area and you subtract all of the constraints and all of the infrastructure that's proposed. So that's what's left over. That's what's buildable. Density. This one can be a little confusing because people use it many different ways. In this context, for residential PDDs, this is the total number of residential units given a site, given the gross site area. So, if you have a 5-acre site, you have 5 homes on it, you have 1 home per acre. The base density is the measurement. It is the number of units that is allowed based on the zoning requirements. So, we'll get into that later as we go. And then the base unit allowance is the measure specific to a particular property. So if you have one property, again, 5 acres, and you have 1 acre per land allowed by zoning, or 1 unit per acre, then you would have 5 acres as your base unit allowance. But again, we'll get into that as we go. So physical environmental constraints. So that's your wetlands, that's your water bodies, that's your slopes that are greater or equal to 15% in the town of Malta. That's your 100-year floodplain. Any significant geological features, if you have a huge bedrock that you just can't get through. Any easements, like conservation easements that prohibit development, and lands that are zoned land conservation. assuming that they're not already counted, we don't double count. So if you have a pond and it's in the land conservation zone, we're not counting those as two separate acreages. Ooh, sorry about that. It's one acreage. Infrastructure. So that's going to be your roads and right-of-way. That's your stormwater areas, your utilities, and that brings us to our first calculation. So if I'm going too fast, just let me know. So in R1, this is our first example, is going to be a property in R1. In R1, the existing zoning today says that a single-family home requires 40,000 square feet of land. So what do we know? We know that 1 acre equals 43,560.04 square feet, which makes our base density 1.09 residential units per acre because, math. In this example, our property size is going to be 5 acres. We have 2 acres of environmental constraints, and we're going to use 15% as our reserve for infrastructure. So the 15% is calculated after we take out the environmental constraints. So here's our calculation. The net developable area, this is our formula based on the letters here on the side. So you're going to take your property size, you're going to subtract your environmental constraints, then you're going to take that same number again, but you're going to multiply it by the infrastructure. And that's going to leave us with a net developable area of 2.55 acres, which then to get our base unit allowance, we're going to take that 2.55 acres and we're going to multiply that by the base density. And that's going to be 2.78 units per acre. Or no, just sorry, 2.78 units for this development. So that's where we're starting. That's our starting point. And when it comes to density, because we calculate density based on the entire site area, not just what's developable, this actually equals about half of a unit per acre. So to calculate the actual density for the PDDs, so we have our 5 acres. Base unit allowance is at 2.78 units. PDD density bonus in this scenario is 135% of your. So we're going to do that math, and that's going to result in 3.75 units for this development, which is a density of 0.75 units per acre. Second example, same example, but instead our density bonus is going to be 165. So we're going to do that, and that's going to be about 4.5 units for this development, this 5 acre development, which results in almost a unit per acre. So then we're going to go to our third example here, which is going to be 200% density bonus for PDDs. If we did that, we'd have 5.56 units for this 5 acre development, which is about 1.11 units per acre. And again, our underlying existing zoning is that 0.56 units per acre. Is everybody with me so far? Everyone's good? Okay,
Got some questions later, but I'll hold to the end.
gotcha. So this one's a little trickier. What we're going to do now is we're going to look at a development that is proposed under split zoning. That means that it's one site, but it's got 2 kinds of zoning on it. In this scenario, we're going to take R1 and land conservation, which is abbreviated as LC. Again, 40,000 square feet for one single-family home. And single-family homes are not allowed in land conservation because we're trying to conserve the land. So that's why there's no homes there. So our knowns for this example, again, acre is still 43,560.04 square feet. Your R1 base density is still 1.09 residential units per acre. Your base density for land conservation is 0 units per acre. So your R1 site area in this example is 100 acres, and then 30 acres of land conservation zoned area. So that's 130 acres total for your gross site area. In this example, we have 20 acres of environmental constraints, and in this case, they are all inside of the LC zone. We're going to use 15% again to reserve for our infrastructure. So going through our calculation, we have our formula here. We're going to take out, we're going to do our net developable area, which is going to result in 85 acres, because we're going to take out that land conservation as your constrained lands for 30 acres, and we're not going to double count. So we're not doing 50 acres because there's 20 acres of environmental constraints and there's 30 acres of LC. We don't double count. We just take 30 acres of the land conservation. So that's going to be, now we're going to do our base unit allowance calculation, which is going to end up being 92.65 units for this development. So 130 acres with 92.65 units, that's going to be 0.71 units per acre. So again, that's what we're starting from, 0.71 units per acre. So if we have a gross site area of 130 acres with a base unit of allowance of 92.65 units, with 135% density bonus, that's going to net us, or that's going to result in 125 units. And that's going to be almost 1 unit per acre. Same example, but we're going to use 165% for our density bonus. We're going to end up with 152 units for 1.18 units per acre. And in our third example here, we're going to use 200% as our density bonus, and we're going to result in 185.3 units for 1.43 units per acre. Still with us? All right. That was a bit dry, so now I hope this will be a little bit more fun. Okay, so this is not to scale in any way, so don't rely on that. First, there was a pond, right? Piece of land, nice little pond. Somebody came through and built a road. Then a whole bunch of people followed, and they bought up the land, and they divided it, and they made these little lot lines. The town came through and said, we're going to zone it. Yellow is R1, green is LC. Developer came in and said, I'm going to put a residential subdivision there, but I can't get the number of units that I need, so I'm going to make a PDD. Yellow box is the developable area that they're trying to develop. So gross site area, we're going to use that same 130 acres. We're going to subtract 30 acres of land conservation, which is the green. There's your 20 acres of environmental constraints, but again, it's within that LC, so we're not double counting. That means we have 100 acres that we can build on in theory. Now we're going to take our utilities out, that 15%, and we're going to be left with 85 acres. Yay, that's our developable area. Base unit allowance is still 1.09 units per acre. Multiply that by our net developable area, and that's going to be the 92.65 units. Now we're going to take 165% for the bonus density in this scenario. That's going to be 152.87 units, which is 1.18 units per acre. And there's all your homes getting built. And that's that. Any questions?
Yeah, that base unit allowance, that 1.09,
Yeah.
is that like along with the 40,000 square foot? That's the base that's on the books right now.
Correct.
That's our starting point.
Yes, because our current zoning says 1 unit needs 40,000 square feet. 40,000 square feet is not quite an acre. That's why it's 1.09.
So then conceptually, where do I get to see the example where we got neighborhoods that are having property 0.35 of an acre? So what's that bonus density? If it's not 135, is that like 400?
So this doesn't determine the property size. This only determines the number of units within a development on a piece of land. So the property size can end up being different because we have conservation.
Well, I
size.
equate property size. If everyone's got 0.35, I mean, you got 200 units instead of 1 acre, you're not going to have, 100 units, you're going to have 50.
Yeah.
So your examples are there, are all showing over an acre,
Mhm.
And I think there's a lot more, for a better term, bedroom neighborhoods where, they're all less than a half an acre, how do you get down to that number? What's
So
the
that-
bonus number on that?
That comes from whenever in New York State, so it's not even town, it's New York State. When you have any development that comes in at over 20 acres or more, you have to do a conservation subdivision. That means that you have to cluster your units so that the units and the properties end up being smaller, but it's the same amount of land, but all that other land gets preserved. That's New York State law. Because that way we're reducing urban sprawl. We're keeping everything close together so we don't have to run these massive utility lines, these massive roads. That's why those properties end up being half an acre, quarter of an acre, like that. But all of that land, that 40,000 square feet, is still preserved because it's in those HOA lands or it's in a conservation land.
I got it. So basically for subdivision to go in over 20,000 acres, then you're gonna start seeing that bedroom neighborhood concept, what you call it,
20 acre.
clusters?
Cluster subdivision or.
As long as it's over 20,000, that
20
guy could have a foot buffer left and right in a house, correct?
Usually we.
5 feet
Sure.
buffer, I'm being sarcastic
I
here,
got you,
but
I got you.
I'm trying to how do we get
Yeah.
to PDD? And everyone says, my gosh, can you stuff another house in there? And we're going,
PD
no.
PDDs are different because PDDs, those numbers, it's the same principle, right? You have the cluster subdivision, that's not a PDD. If you have a cluster subdivision and you do that and you have a quarter acre lot and you reserve those other lands, great. You're following the state legislation. PDD, it's the same concept, but we do it a little differently because it's town. So basically what you're doing is you're saying this calculation just determines only the number of units. So whether those, I'm going to use very hyperbolic numbers here. Let's say we have 400 units going in, which I don't think we do. But if we did, whether those are on 200 acres or whether each of those has 2 acre lots or has a 1 acre lot or has a quarter acre lot, doesn't matter because there's only going to be 400 based on that calculation because that's what that calculation allows. So, because it's based on the gross site area.
Last question.
Sure.
What do you think is the proper number for the bonus density percentage?
I think that's up
yeah.
to you guys.
Yeah, I don't know if that's fair to ask Adrian.
He just gave us a briefing and
Yeah.
he gave us, I'm asking his
Just showing us
opinion.
examples.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you go back into, kind of back up here.
You don't have to worry. You can answer the question no matter what Cynthia says. If
Al,
you
can
have an opinion, I'd like to hear it.
Al, could I ask the question?
That's
a
the whole
different
point of
way?
being up here.
Hey, Al, could I ask the question a different way? Is there a formula for determining an appropriate bonus based on affordability of housing? Just-
The larger the bonus that you make, the more houses the developer can do, which means that they can recoup their costs and they can bring the cost of the home
So
down.
there's no formula to guide a board and
You can have a 400%.
I'm sure, not that I'm aware of. I'm sure that developers have their own calculation of where they need those numbers to be. But there's nothing that, it's really up to you guys and what do you want the town to look like? So,
Anyhow, you don't have to answer that question. You can answer it in private. And then I'll tell everyone next board meeting.
it's not my opinion that matters. It's you guys and it's the residents.
Well, we're getting educated. I'm listening to an educated man about the subject matter expert. I'd like to get his opinion. Why you stop short?
I hear you. No, I hear you. I hear you.
I mean, he was just trying to show us how we would calculate.
Oh, I know that. It was a nice
Yeah.
presentation. I was just asking his opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you want affordable housing, then you need a higher density bonus. If you don't want to see a whole lot more properties get developed, then you need a lower density bonus. So it really depends on what you want.
Thanks, Adrian. That was very
That was
informative. Anybody else have any questions?
Very
for him?
informative, that last sentence.
You can go down after the meeting and ask him, private.
I
Adrian,
don't understand the secrecy. I just don't get it. Anyhow,
Adrian, is that available to us now?
I believe it was distributed to you with your packet materials.
It's on the website with the meeting, with all of the meeting.
On the website?
That's right. And it was emailed to the board members, so.
do you got a ballpark? 135 to 400.
Thanks, Adrian.
No worries.
Good job, Adrian.
Yeah.
Very informative, and
You gave me enough information to be dangerous and ask a whole bunch of other questions.
At this point, we'll actually start our regular meeting with a salute to the flag and a moment of silence. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everybody. First item tonight is to, I'll entertain a motion to accept the town clerk minutes for our 11/24 meeting.
So move.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Comments from town residents? Yeah. Now you can get up.
Is that percentage, is that something you determine once and it's, or does PDD, as a developer comes in, he asks, I want 135% overage or 400%?
We're evaluating whether or not to make that a criteria in the overall legislation.
It's an arbitrary number right now, whatever, there is no number.
Right.
If the, ask it another way, if the builder builds within the 40,000 square foot for that property, you know, utilities and conservation, you can build however many houses without coming to you guys and asking any kind of requirements?
Well, if,
Build within the zoning.
if you build within the zoning, the town board is not part of that
It's only
discussion. It's only when they want a planned development district, right? Correct. So, yep. Anybody else? There will be another opportunity at the end of the meeting for public comment. So with that, we'll move on to comments from the town board and department heads. First, I put on here updates to the New York State Communications Tower, which is a hot topic in the town of Malta. I don't have any earth-shattering news, but I just want to know we're actually still, communicating and keeping it on the front burner. I spoke with the consultant that was here from Crown Castle, and we discussed a couple of other options. We discussed them putting it on a piece of property that the town owns in LFTC. And there's an actual tower owned by the same company in Round Lake, in the village of Round Lake. We discussed them being able to locate the equipment there. And they had a couple of other alternative sites that somebody else had put on before them. She assured me that they are evaluating those additional sites. I don't, like I say, they didn't promise anything. We do have a couple of other options of things to discuss with them about the siting of towers. I mean, one thing is, as you know, the state of New York owns that property now, and even if they want to, locate with a private company, they can do that. One of the questions that I've been asked is whether or not they need a ZBA, a zoning variance, to build a tower that's higher than our zoning allows, and unfortunately, they do not need to go to the ZBA. So that was kind of disappointing to find out. So like I said, I don't have any earth-shattering news. I just wanted to be sure that everybody knew that we were still communicating with them. She did tell me that they heard loud and clear that the residents don't want that tower there. And so that's a concern for the company. So they're working on trying to find other sites. And we've presented them with a few. Again, I kind of made that offer without actually discussing it with the town board. So another reason that I wanted to bring it up tonight is to make sure that the rest of the board was actually on agreement that if they decide to locate it on the property that we own in LFTC, that you would agree to allow that. It's 25 acres, so I think they can find room. It's whether or not that particular location works. So that's really all I have on that. one more thing that I wanted to mention tonight is there's a framed couple of maps and drawings over there that a gentleman, Steve Rutke, who was on our Historic Preservation Review Commission from 2006 to 2010, and he stopped in my office one day and donated that back to the town of Malta. He had had it done, and it was hanging in his home office, and he thought the proper place for it would be here. It's really pretty interesting. The little inset for Malta shows the intersection of 9, it's from 1886, I think. It shows the intersection of 9 and 67 down here is, you know, it doesn't use the word downtown, but it kind of defines it as a downtown area. So we thought that was kind of interesting. Anything else from any of my colleagues on the town board?
I got something. I am respectfully asking our supervisor to provide the town board with information regarding her meeting last Wednesday with the referee of the 4th Judicial District Court. While I have been involved in many of the courthouse meetings, and I have spoken publicly concerning about the ADA unlawful issues in our town and our court, we as a town board should be afforded this information, being vital to possible referendums put forward tonight and possibly in the future. Going forward, I ask to remain involved in the courthouse matters. Thank you.
He requested the meeting with me. I didn't really know what it was about until he arrived. Jamie O'Neill was also in that meeting with me. We talked about what we all know is the issues with our current town court. I mean, there's no doubt about that. Everybody knows it's not suitable for a court. I did inform him that in our 2026 budget, we have appropriated monies to fix some of the ADA compliant issues with that building. I also informed him that the comptroller and I are trying to work on a 5-year capital plan. And like I said, make no mistake, we all know that the court is inadequate, to say the least. And, you know, we'll make the court, improvements to the court a priority. But we got to a point where we talked about trying to build a new court, and the cost was just prohibitively expensive for the town of Malta.
He said that?
No, I told him
You
that.
said that.
Yeah, and I still stand by that. We do have the resolution on tonight to accept the proposal for the bid documents. I will not be supporting that because I think that we need to look at our space needs as an overall capital plan, save some money. I mean, this town of Malta has never really had a real comprehensive evaluation of our space needs, where we can actually save space. When we look around this building, there's places where we think it could be, you know, rearranged or walls moved to be more spatially useful to us. I don't have the expertise to do that, but you know, we're hoping to kind of figure that out. There are a couple of other things we've talked about. I talked about with the library about maybe some space considerations, and so this you will see shortly after the first of the year, at least an outline of a 5-year capital improvement plan. We have made some strides in the past 2 years. There were a lot of our infrastructure was crumbling, for lack of a better word. We put new windows and a roof on the court. We've appropriated to put a roof on this building, and a roof somewhere else. 2 roofs? Oh, Pellegrinos, that's right.
Yeah.
Because we also, you may not know, we own the Pellegrinos building, and the shingles are falling off this building. There just are a lot of capital improvement needs that we need. And during the budget process, I did give you a spreadsheet with what we've identified as capital needs, so. There'll be more to come.
I fully endorse the fact of about a 5-year plan to financially get forward all our issues that we have as a town as a whole. I am concerned about some of the projects that I have talked publicly on for the last 2 to 4 years that don't cost a lot of dollars. And even those haven't been addressed.
Well, as I say, we appropriated money. I don't know what specifically you're talking about. We did appropriate money in the 2026 budget to address some needs, specifically some needs for the court.
Yeah, but you know what? That doesn't cover the last 2 years of very simple things that could be addressed.
Craig, it doesn't cover the last 15 years. I mean,
I can go back.
yeah,
a lot
I
of
mean,
years.
right.
And I think that was the concern of the referee, that we haven't been addressing them. And that he wants to see a firm,
Yeah, we had a very
a
pleasant,
very firm plan going forward.
Yep.
And he's not asking for it. He's telling us now, I think.
we had, like I
Is he?
say, we had a very positive meeting. I told him what we have moving forward. And like I say, it has been, I mean, the justices, from when I was on the town board in 2018, talked about the inadequacy of the court, and nobody really did anything. I'm trying to at least address the situation as it stands now, and we'll move forward.
My concern on a long-term plan regarding the courthouse is Schenectady has this very, very similar situation that has been in the press, and I think I sent that over to you. Now, their referee has stepped in, and they're not asking questions anymore. They're telling Schenectady, you must. And I don't want us to get to that same point going forward. And I appreciate the fact that you answered it honestly, because otherwise, our town board would never have known that meeting even existed. And it's a town board decision. And as I said earlier, some of these issues are on for us to address tonight that impacts.
Which, like I say, is why we appropriated money in the 2026 budget to address some of them. So,
But thank you.
yes, yeah. Anybody else?
Yes.
Oh,
I just want to take a minute to remind voters in Malta who live in the Ballston Spa School District that there is a vote tomorrow on a large capital project that the Ballston Spa School District is proposing. It's a little confusing if you're a voter. If you live in Malta and you're in the Ballston Spa School District, you vote here. Other Ballston Spa School District voters go to the high school, but Malta residents vote here. The hours are 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. And there is information on the Ballston Spa School District's website about what this capital project is, what the amount is, and what it is to be used for. So you can check out. I'm not an expert. I'm not on the Ballston Spa School District board, so look there to get.
What's the capital project? Where they built?
it's vast. It's a lot of,
There's quite a number of things.
quite a
I
number of
wouldn't.
things in pretty much every building, and it's an improvement of some of our athletic facilities. And, every building, a lot of it is HVAC related. The current high school is more than 30 years old. It needs a new roof. And, so it's, like I say, you have to look at the website. It's every building pretty much has.
So again, that's here tomorrow, 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. if you are a Malta resident and a member of resident of the school district, Ballston Spa School District.
61 point something million dollars over the course of, I think it's 5 years. A lot of that, of course, will be state aid. They're starting out, I think they have $8 million that they've saved. So the first 2 years, there'll be no tax impact to anybody. if I'm correct. And then, like I say, they'll apply, some of it will be funded through state aid. You know, there's matching state aid money, so. But they've got a great presentation on the website, so go ahead and look. And that's, you vote here no matter what your polling place is. If you live in Malta, you don't go to your regular polling place. It'll be here, so. Anything else from anybody? We'll go on to tonight's, we have 2 items for discussion. The first one should be fairly quick. We have received a resignation letter from our receiver of taxes, Candace Schmidt, is going to resign as of December 31st, so we will have to appoint a replacement for her. I'm going to recommend that we appoint her deputy, her longtime deputy town receiver of taxes, Sherry Davenport. And then what'll happen is then there'll be a special election in November of next year for a new receiver of taxes. So that's coming. If you know of anybody else who might be interested in the position, they certainly are encouraged to apply. Any other discussion on that? Next, we have a report on the engineering for Labella. We have Joe Lanero here from Labella, who is working on the report and has some information for us.
With Labella. Thank you. And I'm here tonight to provide a progress report on our work related to the Silver Beach Road drainage concerns that were raised to the board, and then our office was engaged to evaluate them. So as of today's date, our office advanced a pretty extensive survey of the road, Silver Beach Road, from Schuyler Road, Collimer Road, and just to the south of that, we did a detailed right-of-way survey and also a topographic survey identifying drainage features and topographic conditions. As part of our next step, we started doing an engineering assessment of drainage areas and drainage system components, and we were looking at standard and non-standard features that existed in the subject area. As part of our analysis, we did start to look into some work that was completed by our office, formerly the Chazen Companies, back in 2013, and we're in the process of correlating some of our findings from the work done in 2013 with some of our current findings to see if there are any changed conditions that may influence drainage patterns within this corridor. So we're hoping to finalize our assessment of existing and standard and non-standard features affecting drainage patterns, and hope to have a report within the next week or 2 for the board.
Anything else? Any questions? Can you, I don't know, give us any idea of
There's
anything?
Yeah, there's clearly, just from a cursory review of our initial findings back in 2013, there are a number of non-standard features that exist within Collimer Road as well as Schuyler Road that influences drainage from west to east, from Collimer Road down Silver Beach Road, and then down Schuyler Road with ultimate drainage discharge into Saratoga Lake. So we're looking at those features to see if there's any changes from our study in 2013 as compared to what we recently documented, and then looking for any anomalies in the data that we can report on. So there's probably going to be more than one item that's brought up as a concern that would need to be addressed if we were to try to mitigate drainage issues in this area.
Well, you just kind of mentioned non-standard stuff that was visible or around in 2013.
Yes.
So unless they got better, they probably got worse. And through your assessment, are you going to be, besides finding out what may or may not be right or wrong, do you make any recommendations on how to fix what's right or wrong?
Oh, absolutely. In the report that was prepared in 2013, we identified not only what issues were, but what were conceptual improvements to address those. So these same remedial measures that were suggested in 2013 would still be applicable today.
Unless they were enacted on?
They weren't enacted on.
They say that again?
These were not implemented. These,
That's what I'm getting at. So we got the same problems from 2013 that we got going forward.
And in fact, there's actually more development down there since 2013, more homes built, and so the problem is more widespread than,
it didn't get better.
Well, we'll be back for another survey unless some.
just
gets
for
fun about it.
information out there for anybody. Silver Beach Road is a town road and the town maintains it. All of the other roads down there in that area are private roads. They're privately owned. And so it's the responsibility of, either the HOA or whoever owns the roads to make sure that they aren't interfering with our road. And, so, but we don't have any real significant findings now at this point regarding that, so.
We'll have a more detailed report for the board, and if appropriate, we can prepare a brief PowerPoint presentation to review that
Okay,
for the,
yeah, that'd
for
be
the
great.
board. Okay.
Hey, Joe, when do you think the final proposal will be forthcoming? Because the people down in that area would like to have some kind of a clear vision as to when the town has to act on this from your final recommendations.
Yeah, we're hoping to wrap this up within the next couple of weeks.
Couple of weeks?
Yep.
Thank you.
Let me say, I must have misheard. You're gonna have the report done? You said soon?
Yes,
What's gonna get done in a couple of weeks?
the report.
The report, finalizing the report.
Let's start over again. The report is gonna be done in a couple of weeks from now, not soon.
It's very close now, but we have to roll all this information
Am I hearing
together.
that
for it.
right? It's gonna be done soon, but not for a couple of weeks. Which, is it either or, ain't it?
No,
It,
I
It must be
think
me.
he's trying to say the report will be done, which will have the stated actions that the town has to
yes, within
take
a couple of weeks.
for that area.
Right,
Right?
either the town or the HOA or residents that own those
Well, it's-
roads. It may not,
It's for us, they asked us to handle it, right?
Yes,
well, we're not,
Paying for it, right?
if the issue is on Schuyler or Colomer, we are not paying for it. We'll pay for improvements to Silver Beach Road.
Our area.
If those are called for. Our road, so,
They just want some solid information.
yep, understood.
Thank you, Joe.
You're welcome.
any other questions? We have several action items tonight to get through, so we'll start with those. The first is that we have agreed to a 2-year contract with the Malta Stillwater EMS. And so we need to set a public hearing for that. So this is a proposal, or the first resolution is to set a public hearing on, before our December 22nd meeting on the proposed contract with Malta Stillwater EMS.
So move.
Second?
By way of discussion for the public, this 2026, 2027 contract calls for a 3% increase in their funding for each of those 2 years. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The next item is to accept a revised proposal for our consultant that's working with us on the rezoning project to complete the townwide generic environmental impact statement.
So moved.
Second.
So again, by way of discussion, just so you know, the townwide generic environmental impact statement will take all of the changes and the development that has happened since the last time we updated the GEIS, and it will take all of the proposed zoning changes, and it will identify the possible environmental impact statements, or possible environmental impacts for us to make a decision. There'll be a statement of findings. So this is for $12,000. It was not part of the original scope of the project. So, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? As part of that process, also, we have to prepare the environmental impact statement. And the part of that process is you have to have somebody that's going to take the lead. So we are going to declare ourselves as lead agency in this effort. Make sense? Anybody want to make that motion?
So moved.
Second.
Now, this process will involve the town of Malta actually notifying all of the other involved agencies, which is adjoining municipalities, Saratoga County, to name a few. I think there's others, Water Authority. And then they will be able to provide input if they choose to, but we will be the lead on it, so. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? The next one is something that we've discussed, to accept the proposal for the preparation of bid documents for the new court building.
So moved.
Second.
By way of discussion, I will say again, I do not support moving forward with this. I think it's fiscally irresponsible for us to do so at this time. I'm, proposing that we have a more comprehensive capital improvement plan in the future. So, any other discussion? I'm going to ask the clerk to do a roll call vote, please.
Councilwoman Con,
Before you do, explain to me real quickly, accepting the proposal is a yes, not accepting is a no. That's what you're looking for.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Councilwoman Connor,
No.
Yes.
Councilman Ricky, Councilman Warner,
Yes.
Supervisor Young.
No. And for information, because we are a 4-member board, a 2-2 is a no vote. So that fails. Next is to accept a proposal for additional service for Old Post Road repairs. So I'll explain that if we get a motion in a second.
So moved.
Second.
So back in the spring of 2024, we did emergency repairs to Old Post Road. As part of that project, the original bidding for that project was anticipating that it'd be a week. And while we were on site at the pre-construction meeting, the emergency contractor told us that it would be more than a week. And so the Labella, this resolution basically it pays for additional construction services as a result of that project, because it went on for almost 3 weeks, I believe. This just got lost in the cracks. We did get it and nobody followed through with it and passed a resolution. So I'm proposing that so the resolution basically just makes up for that, and we can pay them an additional $9,300 for work that they incurred during the course of that project.
So moved.
I think we already did that part, but
All right, discussion, how much is it
that's the
costing?
discussion. $9,300.
Now, did we contract a vendor to do the emergency services?
Yes, Evolution is
And
emergency
they
services.
need more time to do what they're doing, then why are we paying Labella?
But Labella provided on-site inspection services for the project. This was done in 2024.
I don't know, it just, everything pops up a little late. Pay me again from Labella.
Yeah.
It's a habit.
Well, this really was actually provided to us.
Oh, I'm sure there's an explanation, but I can give you some services and charge you $10,000. But anyhow, so be it.
Do I need a roll call vote, or
Oh, I'm a no.
then we'll have a roll call vote?
Councilwoman Connor,
I'm going to abstain.
I don't know how that works then.
No.
Councilman Ricky, Councilman Warner. Yes. Supervisor Young,
Yes. So what happens with that? Is that still a no? Yeah, you don't have. Yeah, we have to have,
You don't have 3 votes.
yeah.
pay the services that we have contracted with our engineer.
You just said yes.
Outlined in our contract. That makes sense,
Well,
a lot of sense.
that's what the board voted for.
That's what I said. Made a lot of sense. It's fantastic.
And like I said, it was a discussion on site at that.
Oh, I know, that's the first I'm hearing about it, is right here, so I'm gonna give a no.
Pretty sure we talked about it last time.
We have
that might
talked
be your
about this
recollection.
repeatedly.
I hear Labella every month up on the podium here, and it's ka-ching. But anyhow,
Well, the next item is to award the bid to General Control Systems regarding Malta Water District Number 1, Knapp Road Wellfield Telemetry.
so move. Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Next, we, for the past few years, have had an intermunicipal agreement with the city of Saratoga Springs regarding animal control services. And this resolution allows us to, if our animal control officer responds to something in Saratoga Springs, this allows us to actually bill the city of Saratoga Springs for his services. I'll make that a motion. Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. This next one is to authorize the Boston Spa National Bank. We're gonna take, is it two, it's only one resolution, to have positive pay schedules. This is basically just a added security to prevent any sort of, threat to our bank accounts at the Boston Spa National Bank.
So moved.
Second.
It's recommended by our comptroller that we move ahead. It's recommended by the bank that we move ahead with this, so. Oh, it's only, it's only one of our accounts at Boston Spa National Bank. And it's for both ACH and checks. So there's actually two agreements. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It has come to our attention that our alarm system needs some updating. So this next one is an agreement, a service agreement with Doyle, who does our alarm system. The alarm systems, it's updating the alarm systems for the highway, the old highway, and the court. It'll update it to a cellular platform. Right now it's copper wire. And the increase to the monthly service is minimal. Couple bucks a month.
So move.
Second?
Discussion?
Did we talk about this prior?
We did not actually talk about this. It kind of came up between the two meetings
Okay.
that we were having an issue.
That was just a check.
Yeah,
Well, the other,
we talked about the other thing.
well, that was on the site. You said it was on the site. How could we have
We
discussed it?
discussed it in this meeting, in our agenda meeting, that particular item, so. This we did not.
Okay.
Any discussion? Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
We'll take the next three items together. The first one is to establish the 2026 fee schedule. This is the schedule that we charge for everything. Pavilion rentals, building permits, anything you can think of, it's whole schedule. We adopt this every year as a new one. We establish the wage and salary structure and the wage and salary schedule. So I'll take those three as a group.
So move.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Next resolution is to authorize 2025 vacation carryover. We have some employees that we allow them to carry over vacation if they don't use it all. And we have several that are requesting that we do that for them.
So move.
Any second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
We're proposing, during the budget process, we talked about amending the town employee handbook to allow an increase in the boot allowance, because we realized that our boot allowance that we gave to employees that need boots that they might be able to buy one boot. So we want them to be able to buy two.
So move.
Discussion?
Yes. When you say boot allowance, does that address all employees,
Well,
planning?
no, well, it's the planning staff that's out in the field, so stormwater and code enforcement, maintenance and highway. What? Okay, so maintenance, water, and some of the people in building and planning.
So they get that extra
Yeah,
amount
yeah,
of funding, but not everyone else,
no,
because it isn't that.
Is that an on as-needed basis or part of a beginning in January payment? Use or lose, or you don't have to?
right.
Say it again, I can't hear you.
It's in January or February, and it comes in a lump sum taxable earnings.
Right, so it's paid in January and February, and it's considered taxable earnings. I've been asked to repeat what the staff says, because the people at home can't hear you, so. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We'll take the next three together. During the course of the budget,
I would like to speak about item 16.
okay. Okay, then we won't take them together. First one is to establish a part-time audio-video operator position.
So move.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The next is to establish a part-time typist position to aid with our maintenance department.
So move.
Discussion?
Yes. The increase in dollars that was given to this department and its supervisor, which was considerable. And it was also consistent with the duties of this new position as provided. At this time, I will not be supporting it going forward at this time.
I mean, it was a position that we established during the budget process, and we have found that, you know, his duties of trying to administer basically just the, you know, paperwork, keep him from being out in the, keep him
That's
from being out in
not
the
what the
field. with his
resolution
people.
said.
So-
It's a lot of his duties also, that he's got to be hands-on. And that's why he was compensated at such a large amount of dollars as an increase. And you know what? You're looking for more. That's part of his duties. I mean, I know how to type. I'm not great, but I've always had to do it. And I never went to my boss and said, oh, I got to have a secretary that's part-time because I don't know how to.
I mean,
He's involved with the billing process, the contracts, and he should be a hands-on administrator that he's getting overly compensated for. And I was asking for a part-time secretary on top of it, when he should be managing every bit of that right to the end. So I'm not supporting it, so.
any other comments? Might as well do a roll call then.
Councilwoman Connor?
Yes.
Councilman Ricky?
Yes.
Councilman Warner?
Absolutely not.
Supervisor Young?
Yes. The third is to establish a full-time recreation leader position. We're moving an employee from a part-time to a full-time employee because at the community center.
So move.
Second?
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 As a result of our our water administrator passing a civil service test. We are going to move her to a permanent water administrator position.
So moved.
Any discussion?
Does that incur an increase in salary?
No. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations, Teresa. Now I am proposing that we take the next three together. Well, as there's no objection. The first one is to approve a confidential secretary to the highway superintendent. The second is to approve a full-time clerk. They're down a couple of people. And the third is to approve a part-time court clerk. All of those departments have found someone they wish to employ in those positions.
So move.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Last, but certainly not least, is to adopt the Saratoga County Hazardous Mitigation Action Plan. This is a plan that the county has been working on for more than a year that identifies hazards countywide and offers, each municipality has to offer up what they're going to do to try to mitigate those hazards. By the way, one thing to note is every municipality in the county has to adopt this plan to be eligible for FEMA funding as a result of the.
So move.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Last on our agenda, or well, last for everybody else, not you guys, is additional comments from town residents. Yep.
My name is Susan Nuttall. I live in Luther Forest. I'm formally requesting that the board issue a resolution stating that they are opposed to the location of the cell tower and that they are looking into alternatives. I would like that on record. I feel that when it goes through the secret process in the state, if that information is stated clearly in town board records, that it will hold a lot more weight.
Thank you, Susan.
I'm in favor of that.
Yeah, we'll definitely consider it. Something we gotta talk about. Anybody else?
Just a couple things.
Roger Crandall, Highway
Yes.
Superintendent?
Who?
When you consider the density, I want you to consider snow storage. The more dense it is, the less snow storage we have. And it costs the town considerably when we start having to move snow. The other thing is, there was a comp plan done on this whole complex just before they built the garage. So maybe you can look back into that and see if it can help you. I know
I have not seen that, so.
I was prioritized, and the courthouse was supposed to be second. So maybe you can look back in those documents and save the town some money.
Yeah, it's probably in my closet.
Right? Thank you.
Thanks, Roger. Anybody else?
I gotta sneeze.
Woody Sloat, one of the two justices of town here. Thank you for allowing me to speak. As I said 2 weeks ago, I was very disturbed about how slow it is to fix the court. This has been going on for decades. We're in violation of law. I'm saying we're all in violation of law here. The law won't wait 5 years for you to come up with a plan. They've already waited over 10 years. It's just not fair to our citizens who have mobility disabilities not to be able to use the bathroom. I want you to think about that. I thought maybe after last week, me saying that, you'd have an immediate workshop, but I don't think you've had one, have you?
No, but that is definitely one of the issues that we plan to address when we get to 2026.
Well, again,
because the money's appropriated.
The law doesn't wait 5 years. Thank you.
Tara?
Tara Panesso, Mayapple Way. I support what Susan just said, a request for the board to, officially support what we're looking for is for the tower not to be there, right next to all of our houses. It's just such a poor idea. There were so many reasons why. And then when the Crown Castle person spoke at the town board meeting recently, she said that I believe she said that they have started to looked at a few different sites so far. Didn't she say that? And said that none of those sites would work. And then she brought up some kind of a technical issue, a technical reason, which you'd have to have a master's degree to understand what she was talking about. Is that going to be the line that they're going to use? So it goes right over our heads. We have no idea what she's talking about. That's ridiculous. Cynthia, I'm really glad that, you are thinking about a couple of very specific areas. And we're just going to follow up on that as town people. We're going to follow up on that because you can't, as a board, be passive about these things. You can't just sit back and say, like all last year, have you heard anything about the tower? Have you heard anything about the tower, where it's going to be? It's always been, no, we haven't heard anything. No, nothing heard yet, but I assume it won't be there. I mean, no news is good news. We can't be no news is good news. You need to, I'm asking you to advocate for us as a board for what your townspeople clearly want. Thank you.
I mean, just to note, all along the way, we were led to believe that it would stay where it was, so that's kind of surprising.
Okay, one more thing.
Yeah.
But I think what has to happen is you have to ask questions.
Yeah.
Along the way. You have to ask New York State, ask the state police. So what's going on with that? So if it's not going to be there right at the barracks, where do you have in terms of an idea where it's going to be? And so then lo and behold, it's going to be at the barracks. They want it at the barracks. I'm not saying it's going to be, because God forbid. But the same thing happened with the fire department. The whole thing. The only place for it, the absolute only place for it was on Dunning. The only place. They did all kinds of studies and they did the length and the width between the two fire departments and that location. The only place. Well, guess what? That wasn't true. And where they are now is an incredibly perfect place. You couldn't get more perfect than that, where they are, Parade Ground Village. You couldn't. So, so we fought that and we won. But that's the only thing we won. We have been, I'm trying to use the right word for it.
Disenfranchised. Disenfranchised.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the right word.
We have been, well,
Upset.
it's worse.
The outcomes.
We have been screwed over, not just on Mayapple Way, on the whole neighborhoods around there. We have been completely, our backyards, our front yards, our privacy, the noise. I mean, we have police barracks, huge police barracks right there nearby. And we have, it just never ends for us. It never ends. Anyway, thank you.
Mr. Lieberman.
Lawrence Lieberman in Fox One West HOA. I wanted to thank the board for supporting the relocation of the tower. And I appreciate every one of your support. And I hope you continue to move in that direction in terms of helping us ask the state to relocate. But again, thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Joan Salvi, Mayapple Way. First, I want to say that I agree with Susan Nuttall that that would be a very important action to have that included in record, how the town board feels about this issue. And also, I spoke at length with Attorney Robert J. Berg, who has successfully litigated to have cell towers moved to different locations. And he explained to me that because it's state land and because it's police barracks, it's a special situation. And he also cautioned me and said that Crown Castle, who has a contract with the state, is very difficult to deal with, and that they're probably not your best route to work with. He suggested that we put as much pressure on our local representatives as possible to have some political pressure put on them, or let's say some persuasion. And I think that's the route we really need to take. I think that's the only way we could do it. There's no lawsuits are possible, especially in the area where health concerns are. So this is what we need to do. We need to hope to get people finally, as Tara said, to advocate for the community and realize that this is not just a matter of aesthetics. Yes, it will affect property values, but it's a safety issue as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Joan. I don't know, only one time. Oh, no, we'll let you have another time. Just kidding.
Again, Susan Nuttall. There are quite a few things that I'm hoping that the board can help us get clarify with this project. One is what formal process Crown Communication must follow, including required filings, reviews, environmental assessments, such as SECRA. I never know if I say that right, SECRA. Obligations when involving state agencies, and permitting steps that the town will be informed of. Number two, how and when the town board will receive updates on each stage of OGS, if it is OGS, I have been unclear trying to find that out. New York State Police and Crown's internal approval process, and whether the board can request regular status reports or documentation. What avenues exist for the town to oppose or challenge the siting of this tower, whether through SECRA comments, planning conflict assessments, advocacy to state agencies, environmental or character of neighborhood impacts, or identification of alternative locations that would meet public safety needs without harming a residential neighborhood. What specific actions residents can take with or through the town to ensure that our concerns remain part of the official record at every step, which is where the resolution comes in. We strongly believe that a project with such, I strongly believe that a project with such significant neighborhood impacts deserves full transparency, public engagement, and a rigorous review of all alternatives. I am encouraged by the board's support, but hope to work together to clearly understand the pathway ahead and to ensure the community's interests are represented throughout this process. Thank you for your willingness to stand with the residents. We look forward to continuing this dialogue and partnering with you to protect the character, safety, and livability of our neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. Anybody else?
I got something if everyone's done. Real quick, that Crown Castle company, I think we got out of them already. They're in it. They're a vendor, and they're slapping on a whole bunch of commercial entities on their tower. I'm sure that's money in their pocket. So the higher, the better, I'm sure, in their mind. OGS, you said, probably is doing the contract on that. OGS projects usually associate with biweekly call-ins. I don't know if we're not in that call-in, but that's minutes got to be taken for that, and that's going to be public record. So too late, too little. But anyhow, the esteemed colleague that's not that at the end there, Matt McLaughlin, who is a councilman currently still, is doing well in the Middle East, and he'll just have a quick little statement for the last town board meeting that he is getting paid for. That's all I got.
Look forward to it. Thank you for his service. Any idea when he's coming home?
June.
June? Oh, his poor wife. Anybody else? Anything? Not that he's coming home in June. That he's been gone so long.
No, he's made a huge sacrifice.
So that is, if everybody's done with their comments, that's the end of our meeting. I'm going to ask that we go into executive session to discuss pending litigation with our attorney.
That's news to me. So moved.
At least we heard about it.
And just for the record, we will not be taking any action. And so we won't be coming back into open session and take any action.
So moved. All in favor? Aye.
All in favor? Any opposed?